13. Aloha ai Kumamae, Downtown-Chinatown, Neighborhood Board number 13. My name is Ernest and I'm Chair of Neighborhood Board 13. And we'll go ahead and start with the introductions from those that are here. Start with Ms. Board Member Long.
Good evening and aloha. Thank you for coming. My name is Bob Armstrong. Welcome and happy holidays.
Good evening. Aloha. I'm Laura Sturgis. It's almost Christmas.
Hello, everyone. Ross Isokane.
All right. Online, please.
Hi, everyone. This is Kevin Lai. Thank you for joining us tonight.
All right, thank you. And sitting next to me is our neighborhood assistant, Camilla. She'll be helping me out tonight. All right. So before we start, as chair, I'd like to issue an apology for last month's canceled meeting to all presenters and members of the public who are looking forward to the topics to be discussed. For full transparency, prior to last month's meeting, Board Member Lai raised an inquiry as to whether timely notice was provided to certain people on the NCO email and postal notification list 6 days prior to the meeting as required by Sunshine Law. On the day of the meeting, Board Member Lai created some confusions on the matter as he raised his inquiry not only to me, but also to other city and county officials. As chair, my desire was to continue last month's meeting as planned. But on the day of the meeting, due to the confusions in communications that day, NCO ended up informing me that they were not able to provide us with the technical support and the meeting had to be canceled. We did our best to inform all presenters and members of the public as soon as was feasible. Again, my apologies, but let's move forward and proceed with today's meeting as planned. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to start. We're going to welcome Board Member McDonald as he's entering today. So we're going to go ahead and go all the way to public safety, starting with the Honolulu Fire Department.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mark Bates from Station 1, right down the street. I'm the captain there on the 2nd platoon. So I'm going to start off with reading the stats for November. We've had, Engine 1 has 1 structure fire, 1 nuisance fire, 7 activated alarms with no fire. We've had 85 medical calls, 1 MVC with a pedestrian, 7 MVC collisions, no mountain rescues, no ocean rescues, and no hazmat incidents. And the fire safety tip for this month is cooking safety. Food has a unique way of bringing family and friends together, especially during the holidays, and cooking can be a relaxing activity. However, it is important to be aware that cooking fires are the leading cause of home fires and home injuries. By following a few safety tips, you can prevent these dangerous situations. Stay alert while cooking. If you are sleepy or have consumed alcohol, avoid using the stove or stovetop. Always stay in the kitchen while cooking. Never leave the stove and heated appliances unattended. Use a timer to remind yourself to check on your food regularly. Keep flammable items like oven mitts, wooden utensils, food packing, and towels away from your stovetop. And lastly, keep children and pets at least 3 feet away from cooking areas. Do you have any questions for me tonight?
All right, so I'm going to open the floor to questions first to the public and then to the board. And I will remind board members that you have 1 minute to ask all your questions all at once. If you desire a follow-up, please make your request to me and I will decide if I will allow it immediately or after other board members have asked their questions, time permitting, at my discretion as chair. So anyone in the public have any questions? Online or in our lobby? No? We'll go ahead and move on to the board.
Thank
We
you.
start off with Board Member Armstrong. Sure. Yeah. No, we're on to the board now.
Not quite so fast.
Yeah.
Happy holidays. There was one motor vehicle pedestrian accident. I believe that was at Polly and Vineyard, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it's the second one this quarter. Can you provide any details or tell us whether
You know what day
there
it
were
was?
any faults?
What day was that?
It was, today is Thursday, so I would say maybe it was Friday, last Friday.
Last Friday?
It was very recent.
Okay. I got to get back to you on that
Okay.
because we have different platoons. I got to check who's working, who was actually on duty at the time, and what kind of details are you looking for?
I don't. And if I knew anything, it would probably be rumor, and so I wouldn't want to share that. I just heard that it was a pedestrian and vehicle accident, and it's the second one this quarter at that location,
Okay.
and it is a bit concerning in terms of who's at fault and if there's anything we can do. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We still got more people. Captain, the board is going to ask you some questions. Go ahead, Board Member McDonald, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for being here. Listening to Member Armstrong, it reminded me that I heard on the news about a scooter or a moped crash about a week or so ago. I don't believe it was in this district, but I'm wondering if you know anything about that. And follow up, second question, unrelated. What is the fire department's stance on, I know that our city council is considering e-vehicle restrictions and codes to restrict them. And how is the fire department, what is their stance on that?
I'm not really sure on that.
Okay.
That's more for the higher ups to kind of decide what that is, but I can say don't store them and charge them in your house. You're
What?
talking more about cars, or you're talking about?
No,
vehicles?
for safety, apparently they're concerned about the use of crosswalks and sidewalks and
Oh,
or can they go on the street? Can they go not on the street? Is there?
yeah, that
like
sounds
this-
more like a,
All right, you got
Police
10
department
seconds.
issue.
McDonald, for your question.
All right.
Yeah.
And then do you know anything about that scooter crash?
no,
Okay.
no.
Thank you.
I've been out of town.
All right.
I ride scooters, so
Thank you.
I'm curious.
All right, thank you. We still have more questions, but just so you know, you can always follow up and send me an email to answer the questions, and I'll distribute it to the board members, and I'll put it in Google Drive so that those that are watching or want to look at it, they can see it, the residents and businesses. All right, thank you. So next up, we have Board Member Lai, please.
Thank you, Chair. I rise as a former parliamentarian of the board just to ask, pertinent to your conversation that you may have had with the executive secretary regarding the letter from OIP and the permissions that board members can speak. I'm completely opposed to that interpretation from OIP, but I just want to ask, just for general knowledge, that there were no comments made from the general public. And then I think our members have raised de novo issues that may not have been explicitly mentioned.
Excuse me,
How does that fall in?
Hold on. Are you asking a question to me, or are you asking a question to Captain Bates?
Thank you. As a point of order, I'm asking you to let us know if questions such as those are in
Okay,
order.
so
Thank you.
before we get off track, we're talking with Captain Bates. If any questions are to Captain Bates, we'll direct them to Captain Bates. If you have any questions to ask me, then we can do that on a one-on-one person as per OIP's message and how we're doing it, okay? But let's keep this on course, and let's just go ahead and discuss with Captain Bates. Let's answer him. It's not for me now. The floor is on Captain Bates. So let's ask the questions with Captain Bates. All right. So if you have a question for Captain Bates, we'll go ahead and hear it. You got 1 minute. Then we can go ahead to me. Thank you. Go ahead.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Thank you, team. Chair, I was raising a point of order, which a motion of precedence and would require your interpretation. But if you want to defer it after our public safety team, I'm happy to do so. Thank you.
So just so Board Member Lai, I appreciate that. But as per OIP, if you want to bring this up, then you need to bring up to me to ask me to put it on the agenda. Once I put it on the next month's agenda, then we have to vote on it. That is per OIP. I'm going to go that route. This is the way. If people want to play with OIP, then we're going to play OIP's way. All right, so we're going to follow OIP's rule. All right, thank you. Do we have any further questions for Captain Bates? Not hearing none. Thank you very much, Captain Bates, and happy holidays. Thank you. All right. Next up, we have the Honolulu Police Department. Lieutenant Segusia, thank you very much for being here. Are you here? Lieutenant Segusia. Is there any representatives from HPD online? All right, not seeing any. We're going to go ahead and move forward. But before we move forward, I'd like to recognize our board member, Laurie McCarney, who's online. Thank you, Laurie, for showing up. All right. So next, it's supposed to be a presentation of certificate of recognition for the principal of this school, who's named Principal of the Year. He's running in and out because they have some Christmas event going on. So he may show up later. If he does, then I'll ask if we can take a recess. If not, I'll just present him his award later. Okay? All right. So next, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to our presentations. So section 4 presentations, we're going to start off with HECO. Do we have a representative? Oh, there we go. Brandon is here. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you very much. As I open, go ahead. As I open the floor for you to speak.
Yep, thanks. Thanks for having me back, everybody. Good to see everybody.
Thank you.
I'm Brendan Bailey, Vice President of Customer Service for Hawaiian Electric. So I wanted to give you an update on the downtown outages. I believe that's the agenda item. This is probably not breaking news. I know you guys are plugged into what's happening downtown. We missed last month's meeting. I was going to give an update while it was still fresh, but I'll do it anyways. And if you guys have questions, I'll be happy to answer whatever questions you have. So we wrapped up our investigation. We used, I think I reported out earlier, an independent investigator to look at the cause of the downtown outage. They confirmed it was a failed splice underground that caused a pretty massive fire that burnt out several sections of circuits that impacted a wide area downtown. Also determined that it was of the nature that we couldn't have reasonably foreseen or prevented it from happening. So, you know, as I reported out, under our tariff rules, if we can't reasonably prevent it, then technically we're not liable or responsible to pay claims associated with the outage. But, you know, as soon as we got that investigation report back, we knew that we wanted to do something for the downtown neighborhood. So it took a little bit of time to put a package together that we thought would represent a gesture of goodwill to the community. And we offered to pay all claims for commercial and residential claims, 50% of everything that was submitted for like lost product, damaged equipment, that sort of thing. We sent those letters out to customers early November. We've been working with customers since then to process those claims. I think at this point, out of the 300 that have been filed, I think we're right around 175 or 180 that have been either resolved or in the process of resolution. We're still trying to get a hold of the remaining customers that we haven't heard back from yet, or some of them are still in the process of gathering information for us. What we also did was, you know, if a commercial claim was less than $5,000 or if a residential claim was less than $500, we also made the decision not to require any supporting evidence of that claim. So they just have to make the claim, certify that they lost that product, and then we would pay the claim out without any additional documentation. For claims that were larger, above 5,000, we are asking them to submit documentation that shows that product was purchased so that we can go through the process of reimbursing that as well. But that's where we're at. I mean, we've been working, like I said, for the past month with customers. We're hoping to get the majority of customers to at least respond by the end of December. If not, we're going to reach out again and make sure that, I think there might be a language barrier with some of our customers. So we're also pursuing that to make sure that we're not missing anybody and letting those claims slip through the cracks if it is a language issue. So we've been working with the downtown, the Chinese Chamber of Commerce as well, trying to get the word out that these letters have gone out and we're trying to resolve those claims for them.
All right. Do you have anything else to say, or that's?
I'd be happy to answer questions.
Okay. So, all right. Thank you. I appreciate it. Before we start answering questions, I want to please note that these are informational presentations to be followed only by public or board members' questions. Based on recent advice we've received with respect to the Sunshine Law, we will not be taking any board action to support or object to presentations. If we wish to take any future actions, we may place that on a future agenda. All right, so let me go ahead and open the floor to questions first from the public and then followed by the board. I will remind board members that you have 1 minute to ask all your questions all at once. If you desire a follow-up, please make your request to me, and I will decide if we will allow it immediately or after other board members have asked their questions, time permitting my discretion as chair. Do we have anyone from the public who would like to speak on this subject? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move to our board members. We'll go ahead and start with board member Armstrong.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate it. And thank you for coming back final time, Brandon. I appreciate your willingness to speak with us and your forthrightness. You said 180 to 190 or so claims that are in process, if I heard that correctly, and being
Either resolved
yeah.
or in the process of being resolved.
Gotcha. Do you know a number, or is there a number of claims that were initially made, but those folks, those commercial establishments are out of business at this point and will not be, and nothing further is to be done?
I don't think we have that information. We do know that there was a total of 300 claims submitted. Whether or not some of them went out of business, I don't know, but we are making efforts to reach out to everybody that submitted a claim. So possibly, out of the ones that we haven't heard from yet, in that process, we may discover that some have not, are no longer in business, but that is not something that I'm currently aware of.
Board member McDonald, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for being here. May I say that's a beautiful aloha as well.
Oh,
Very
thank you.
nice. I have 2 questions. The first regarding Maui, it's been a little over a year now, and I'm wondering if HECO has reached a settlement with the people of Lahaina and I think the county, and if so, how much it is, and if it will affect the rates of the people of Maui and of the people of the state of Hawaii. And I understand HECO serves the entire state. So I'm wondering if there was a settlement, how much it was, and if that will affect the rates of the good people of Hawaii. My second question is, I wonder if, I don't expect you to answer today, but if the next time you happen to be here, you could bring me some sort of a breakdown of what the fuel that we use to supply our energy, how much percentage of our electricity is provided by wind, how much by solar, how much by geothermal, if any, how much by burning oil, and how much by burning trash. I know we burn trash as well. So I wonder, it's not pressing, but I'd like to have that information if I could the next time you visit.
I'll take that second question first. It's publicly available. We publish it annually on our website. You can go to hawaiianelectric.com, and I believe it's the Power Facts site. And it'll break it down by all of our renewable generation sources, the fuel that we use. It has where all the plants are located on the island. So all that information that you just requested, it's publicly available in an easy to understand format. I am proud to say that, our rates have stabilized. They're still high, right? We're trying to work hard to stabilize and get our rates lower. It's going to take a while to drop, but we do have the lowest rates for the past 5 months straight now for Oahu and Maui in the state. So we're happy about that. But let me answer your first question real quick.
Very quick.
First question real quick. I know it's probably outside of the agenda item, but I'll say what's publicly been stated already. There is a settlement in place. There are some steps that need to take place in order to make that final. So there's a court process that's still in place, but we have reached a resolution. We've already publicly stated that we're going to fund our portion of the settlement. The total is like $4 billion. Our portion, we're going to fund it through different means, but the first tranche of payments are going to come out of the sale of equity, which will not impact customers. So we do not want our customers to pay for any portion of our settlement amount. Yeah.
Go ahead, give it a follow-up. I'm giving you the quick follow-up.
Thank you, Chair. Just very quickly, and this is really more of a reminder, or maybe you might want to respond to it. But while I appreciate that maybe the rates have gone down ever so slightly, I would remind you and the public watching this that Hawaii does pay 3 times the national average per kilowatt hour.
Yeah.
So our cost for energy, which it's gone up across the country. So ours has also gone up by exponentially, but we pay 3 times the national rate, which does seem to me to be too much.
Well, yeah, I don't think anybody disagrees with that. It's much higher. I mean, I would love to have really low rates because customer service would be a lot easier if people were happy with the rates. The transition away from fossil fuel, that's what we're focused on. That's one of the things we're focused on. It's going to take time. We have a plan. We're implementing it. But I hear you. And I'd be happy to have a conversation on the side. When we talk about kilowatts, it's not an apples to apples comparison amongst states. We're the most energized state in the nation. So, all of our customers, everything's electrified. There's no like fuel heating that, on the mainland, most people heat their homes with fuel or gas. That's an energy cost that's not included in their kilowatt hour base. Our kilowatt hour includes energy, heating, cooling, all of that, because nobody uses fuel oil, right? So it's complicated, but I understand the frustration. Yeah.
I'm not blaming you.
Yeah, I get it. I know. I'd be happy to have that conversation though.
All right, thank you. Next, we'll go ahead to our secretary over here, Ross.
Thank you, Chair.
Pisacani.
Thank you, Chair. Hello, Mr. Bailey. Going back to the Chinatown incidents, totally understand your explanation just with respect to tariffs and what you're required to do as a regulated entity. My question is really more, if you can answer this, about just what the extent of maybe hearings or discussions you've been asked to have with our elected officials or the PUC. Perhaps, just trying to get a sense for what as the PUC, who's meant to regulate you, or our elected officials, what have they been asking of you, either with respect to compensating our small businesses who have suffered harms, or maybe even just as importantly, what's going to be done to prevent this from happening in downtown Chinatown in the future? Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll try to handle those in order. I can say that our regulators are very active with respect to the reliability of our system. It's one of their top concerns. We've had extensive discussions with them regarding what happened in Chinatown. They're very interested in making sure that it doesn't happen again, and making sure that we have plans in place to help improve the reliability of the grid in general, and in particular downtown. Our legislators have been active as well, as far as asking us questions about what happened and how we can prevent it. I can tell you that, with respect to downtown, it traditionally has been the most, or one of the most reliable circuits in the state. What happened was really unusual. The duration was extraordinary, given that it wasn't tied to a natural disaster or anything like that. That just almost never happens. So, but given what happened and the impact, we are making plans to expedite, our regular cycle of updating underground equipment and transformers and all the things that make up the grid. And that's been pushed up to make sure that we can move as quickly as possible to ensure resiliency downtown.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it. Next, we have Board Member Lai, please.
Thank you, Chair. And Mr. Bailey, thank you again for returning and sharing with our constituents and your customers. I surmise that the payouts for the Chinatown incident relative to the settlement on the Maui wildfires is just a pittance and maybe won't impact things overall. But I was intrigued by your comment about a portion of the settlement being made by selling equity. Are those to be newly allocated shares, or can you give us an idea of how that structure will go? And if it doesn't go to plan, I think there are maybe 4 tranches of payments that TECO is required to make. Does that plan, has it been modeled out so that it will be effective and will allow you to cover your portion of the settlement? Thank you.
Yeah, so I can't speak to future plans. I think, obviously that's something that we're working on, and I think the specifics are still need to be worked out. But I can speak to what we've publicly stated with respect to the first tranche of payments, and that was the issuance of new equity, and that's already been handled and it's been consummated.
All right, Thank you. Do we have any other board members? No, hearing none, I'd like to conclude this. I want to really thank you, Mr. Bailey, for being here these last several months. We really appreciate it. The public appreciate it. Just know that your commitment to being here every single month ends today. But I do
It's been my pleasure.
I do appreciate everything you've done. If there's any follow-up questions that you feel you need to ask any of the other board members or answer to any of the other board members, just send me an email and I'll send it out to all of them and put it on our Google Drive. But we really appreciate everything that Hawaiian Electric did to try to bring things back up. We especially would like you to thank the players, those that were on the ground, the crew members that were out all night long working on it. Because like I said, this incident happened right next to my building. So I right underground next to my building, and our people saw that and they really appreciated the crews that were up there. And we really appreciate Hawaiian Electric for what they've done. So thank you very much. And like I said, your commitment to coming to us is over. I appreciate it. Thank
Yep.
you very much.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Happy
Have a good day. Happy holidays. All right. Next up is NV Director Roger Babbitt to present on the sewer rate study. Director Babbitt, as a reminder, I have uploaded your informational flyer to the public and the board in advance in our Google Drive. So please keep your prepared remarks brief and to the point so that we have adequate time to fit in questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Carvalho and board members, public. My name is Roger Babcock, Director of Department of Environmental Services. We take care of wastewater and solid waste for the county. So I do have a handout that I handed out to here, and a few folks, I have hard copies for the board members. Thank you. So I'll do a quick overview and then be happy to answer, all your questions. I'm here because the city sewer utility function is under our jurisdiction. It is completely funded by sewer fees. Property taxes are used to run the rest of the city, but Board of Water Supply relies on water fees, and we rely on sewer fees only. So what that means is that our fees need to be adjusted in order to match our expenses. And sewer fees last went up on July 1st of 2016. So it's 8.5 years. And we're proposing to raise the rates beginning July 1st of this coming year in 2025. We've put together a 10-year rate package. That is for enabled people to sort of be able to plan ahead. But also it's because we have this large project, which is called a consent decree, which is a federal court order that went into place in 2010 and goes through 2035. This rate package will get us to the end of that consent decree. We'll be able to finish all the work and be done with that, ready to move on to a more normal sort of situation. So as I mentioned, there's a 10-year rate package. What we do is we maintain all of the sewer system, 2,100 miles of pipe, 71 pump stations, 9 wastewater treatment plants all over the island. We take care of and treat and properly dispose of all the wastewater. We do water recycling, solids recycling, and lots of other things along that line. But it has been a long time since the sewer fees have gone up, and now there's been inflation and lots of other things, and so we do need to raise the rates. One of the big things, as I mentioned, is the consent decree, and that is only part of, though, our large capital project, which is to rehabilitate, rebuild, expand, and update wastewater treatment plants and the rest of the system as well. We have a capital program, which is 15 years from 2025 through 2040. It adds up to $10.1 billion. That's just a little bit more than the rail project in that 15-year period. So we have a big program. Most of that is funded by debt. We issue bonds, just like the city does general obligation bonds. Board of Water Supply issues water bonds, and we issue sewer bonds. So we don't pay for these projects in cash. We pay for them in bonds for the most part. But we have to borrow that money, and we have to pay principal and interest. It's kind of like a mortgage. It's 30 years. You put a down payment, and you pay the principal and interest over the 30 years. So that's how we do our projects. Getting to the specifics of what the rate increase that's proposed, it's before City Council now, 9% each year for the next 6 years, beginning July 1st. So each July 1st goes up 9%. then another 9%, another 9% for 6 years. Then the next 4 years is 8, 7, 6, and 5%. Okay, so it starts to go down. Just so you know, 3% per year each year is inflation. Only part of it is actually, really increases above inflation. We are also changing the fee structure, which I'll come back to in just a second. It's a little complicated, so I might just wait for questions. But on this flyer, it does have a bill, what actual bills are projected to be for a certain homeowner, single family resident. So we have rates for single family residential, multifamily residential, and non-residential. In the residential category, there's 140,000 accounts, houses and condo units. And then there are about 9,000 or about 10,000 non-residential. That's all of your commercial hotels and businesses and all that kind of stuff. So there's only 9,000. So the vast majority of our customers are residential. And a residential bill, what it will look like over the coming 10 years is shown in the table. And you can see that the current bill is $110.89. That is for a family that uses 9,000 gallons a month. About 70% of the population uses 9,000 gallons per month or less. The median water use is 6,000 gallons per month. That means half the people use more than 6,000 gallons and half the people use 6,000 gallons or less. So their bills are slightly different than this. And overall, the average is 115% increase over that 10 years. It's about, so it's about, for the average person, it's about $10 a month increase each year, an additional kind of $10. We are doing a change in the fee structure. I'd be happy to talk about that more if you have questions, but I also wanted to mention that we are adding a customer assistance program for those who will be sort of challenged by these rate increases, and you'll have to qualify based on income. We're planning to use the same category, the same sort of qualifications as the rental and utility relief program that started during COVID, and the city distributed about $135 million through that program. You have to be 80% of the area median income or less, and if you qualify, you'd be eligible for a $20 to $25 per month credit, essentially, on your base charge. The charges consist of a base fee and a volumetric charge. Volumetric is based on how much water you use, and there's an automatic 20% credit credit for outdoor irrigation. So we take the amount of water that is billed by Board of Water Supply each month. We subtract 20%, and that's how much you get charged for your sewage. There's a lot of numbers on here, but I'd be happy to explain any numbers or answer any questions that you have. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. All
right. Thank you, Director Babbitt. As I open up the floor to questions, please try to keep your responses to questions brief, direct, and to the point so we can keep the discussion productive and efficient. As a reminder, the matters during presentations are for discussion only, and we will not be taking any actions as a board on these matters during these meetings. I now open up the floor to the public, then followed by the board. Anyone in the public have any questions? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move to the board. We'll start off with our Secretary, Ross Isakani, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Director, for being here. I just want to give a quick plug to the public or anyone listening. I believe the bill in front of City Council is Bill 60.
Bill 60,
Yeah,
correct.
So if anyone, wants to give more strong opinions, that would be the place to do it, because those are the decision makers in terms of these increases. The question I have is, happy to see that there's a volume component. I'd love to see the volume component be even more, because it just makes sense that the more you use, the more you should pay. But that being said, I wanted to ask about the infrastructure improvements. You said you're just getting funded through bonds. I know the federal government is giving a lot of money away for infrastructure bills. Is there any effort to try to get federal funding
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. And yeah, the answer is yes, we do get quite a bit of federal funding every year. Over the last, say, about 6 years, we've been getting about $55 million a year in federal funding for our capital projects. And so that's an ongoing effort. That is, but our total capital budget each year is about 400 million. So it's a portion, it's an important part. But we really can't get all of it, of course, from federal. It's our responsibility as a society to pay for most of it. And the federal money also has kind of a lot of strings attached to it. And it's a little more difficult to spend. You have to buy American, build American. You have to use American steel, and there's some things like that. So the federal money actually ends up making projects cost a little more. So we use some as much as we can. And we continue, continue to do that. I did want to mention about your volumetric question. That came up, and it's been a really important part of this whole rate study that we've been doing over the past year. And we had a stakeholder advisory group with members from various neighborhood boards, industry, environmental groups, and advocates, environmental advocates and stuff. And that was one of the things that they recommended and that we did do. And that's that change in the fee structure. So we've changed from the current structure is about 70% base charge, unchangeable. Everybody pays the same amount, $77.55. And only about 30% of the typical bill is volumetric. We are shifting that to a 50-50, which means, as you've said, that incentivizes conservation and using less water. It's actually worth more. Right now, if you use 1,000 less gallons a month, you save $4.63. In the future, you'll save more like $18 per 1,000 gallons. So it really makes it more value, the value of water. And that's the same way that the Board of Water Supply bills are structured. The more water you use, the higher you pay. So thanks for that question.
All right. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Board Member Armstrong.
Thank you, Mr. Babcock, for being here. 115% over 10 years really is staggering when you see those figures. But I have the other federal question. There was a recent election, I understand, and that administration that's coming in is pro-deregulation. So is there any possibility that the 2010 consent decree, which is calling for all of these necessary changes, is there any possibility that you anticipate at the sewer department a change in the mandates that are in front of us?
Yeah, thanks for that question. So the consent decree is a federal court decision, essentially, and there are plaintiffs, and then the city was the defendant, and they came to an agreement and signed it. Some of the plaintiffs, there were several lawsuits, a whole suite of lawsuits and a lot of violations over many years that went into that and then were sort of absolved through this settlement and sort of cast everything aside, dealed a new deck and said, okay, you do this and everything's forgiven up till that point. So a couple things would have to happen. And it's not just, the administration. So first thing is, the litigants, the plaintiffs would have to decide together and go to federal court and say, we would like to vacate this order. We think we want to do this anymore. And the EPA is only one. State Department of Health is another. And then there are 3 nonprofits, Sierra Club, Hawaii 1,000 Friends, and a group called Our Children's Future Foundation. So they would all have to, the judge is not just going to say, okay, Trump said, don't do this anymore. So they would all have to agree. Then, in addition to that, the Federal Clean Water Act would have to be amended in order for the city to then get essentially a waiver from meeting the Clean Water Act. So the compliance thing that we're doing is to add secondary wastewater treatment to the last treatment plant, Sand Island treatment plant. All the others, of course, have it. That's based on a law that was passed in 1972, the Clean Water Act, and it required that every single treatment plant in the United States do secondary treatment. So the city resisted that for many years. Everybody else in the country went ahead and upgraded. And by the way, it was a funded mandate. It came with billions of dollars and with 75% federal funding for the projects. Today, there's kind of like zero federal funding. So anyway, unfortunately, the decision was made to tried to advocate that Hawaii is different. We don't need to comply with this. It doesn't matter and stuff like that. Eventually, that didn't work anymore. There was lawsuits. There was no permit, and the city eventually had to agree to go ahead and do the upgrades. So the world hasn't changed that much. There's kind of a big change right now, but it hasn't changed that much. So what I'm saying is that would require congressional action. Both House and Senate would have to pass a bill to amend the Clean Water Act, which applies to everybody, and say Hawaii, you no longer have to do this. And so we feel that that is not, both those things, doing all those things is just not practical, not a realistic expectation.
All right, thank you very much. So, Director Babbitt, I'm going to ask that we keep the answers direct and brief so we can move along.
Sorry about that.
And keep everything crisp. No, but we're on time. So just keep, but we do appreciate that. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Board Member McDonald, please.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Dr. Babcock, for being here today. I'm sure many of the other board members are expecting this from me, but this is absolutely unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Even under the outrageous inflation that we've suffered through for the last 4 years, things are only about 40% more. If we double that for 10 years, this is way beyond that pace. Way beyond that pace. You said yourself that some of the adjustments in here for inflation were 3%. So we could expect a 3% raise every year. This is, that doesn't even really seem, it seems closer to like 135% increase over 10 years. I'll take your word for it, 115%. Over 10 years, double, more than double over 10 years. This is absolutely, and to take a little bit away from the water, our residents and our businesses have suffered through huge increases in electric, huge increases in gas, huge increases in our groceries and everything else we have. The minimum wage has gone up by 50% over the last, starting next year, it'll be 50%
We've
more
got
than it
10
was
seconds
5 years.
left, Mr. McDonald,
So
please.
I would like to ask you to come back, and I would like to ask you to find where you're going to cut this and make it work for our people, because I absolutely can't abide this. I absolutely cannot. This, and it says here,
Mr.
dot
McDonald,
gov.
time's up.
So it's a government agency. You should be able to find the funds from other areas and rearrange them. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, thank you. Go
Thanks.
ahead.
Quick response. So just so you know, so the rises in costs that you've mentioned, also experience in everything we do. So we have increases in wages. We have a very high electricity bill. We buy a lot of diesel fuel and all those other consumable things. And in addition, and there hasn't been a rate increase at all in the past 8 years, so 8.5 years. So that inflation, as you say, has gone up, and it continues to go up. So of this 115%, about 36% of it is inflation for the future. You add the other 40% and you get there. But basically, the consent decree is a very big part of this project of these fee increases, and we don't have a choice. The last thing I wanted to mention is that we don't have any other source of funds from other government agencies. We have to be self-funded with the sewer fees. So the sewer fees have to pay all of the sewer costs. It's an enterprise service. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Next, we have Board Member Lai, please.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the presentation. I didn't immediately see a copy of the handout on the online Google Drive folder, so please forgive me if this was addressed. But coordination of the timing of this rate increase with that which we had and are planned by the Board of Water Supply, I mean, is this the absolute, not best time, but the only time that this can be brought to bear and impact our constituents? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that question. So the flyer shows our capital improvement program, and because the consent decree project must be completed by the end of 2035, that's 11 years from now, we have to procure the money for that project and start it and fund it and get it all completed and spend all the money for that project by that time. Otherwise, we're in violation. We start paying daily fines of tens of thousands of dollars. So that's the timing issue. If we were to, say, do a lower rate increase, say, this year and next year, then we would need 15 or 25% increases in 27 and 28 in order to meet the requirements, in order to get this project done. So unfortunately, the timing is really has to do with that. And that's why it has to be now. Postponing it only makes it worse. Still need all the money to do those projects. So thanks for the question.
Thank you. Any other board members? All right, hearing none. I feel the same way, actually, that Board Member McDonald feels. Board Member McDonald, if you want to take this opportunity to ask him another question, go right ahead.
I mean, I think I made my point. I thank you, Chair, by the way. And I do want to thank you, Dr. Babcock, for being here. And it can't be easy to go out and tell people that their rates are going to be increased 150%. I would say to you, I see on your 115%, I can't remember what I said, that it says here .gov on your website. So I would strongly urge you to go to the other government. You said that you're solely funded. It's time to go to the other government agencies and find. We just saw at the last meeting here that I've seen our state waste money. There is no excuse for this kind of spending and these kind of rate increases. At the last meeting we had here, the fellow said we were going to spend, I think it was more than $30 million on our reflecting pools around the Capitol, and they don't even have water in them. So I strongly urge you, come back with better numbers. And I would like to, I'm not trying to come down on you personally, but find ways to cut this, find ways to make it better. Is there anything you can do to tell us now where you might look? That'd be a good question for now. Where can you look to make improvements to this?
Thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
Thank you, Chair.
No problem. And I misspoke. Before I say goodbye to you tonight, I do have another board member who would like to say something. Board Member McCarney, please.
Thank you. Sorry I'm late with my question. But it really has to do with this significant project, over $10 billion. How confident are you that it's going to come in at the budget that you've set when it has such a long, such a long period of time to get it done?
Yeah, thanks for that question. So we have a really good track record of doing our projects on time and on budget. The rest of just so you know, the rest of the consent decree, the first two parts were about $2.5 billion also. We got them done on time according to the schedules that were in the consent decree and on budget, what we had estimated at the beginning. So this is an updated budget estimate, the one to finish this project. It's in final design now, and we put it out to bid in about 4 years. So we are confident that we will be able to do it for the budget that we have in the rate study. So thanks for that question.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Board Member McCarney, did you have a follow-up?
No, I didn't. I just have a little bit of, I'm just not sure that that's going to happen when it's not even going out to bid for 4 years. But I think at this point, there's not too much else you can do except budget it and hope for the best and hope we don't have a 25, it doesn't increase more as we get more to the tail of this.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Director Babcock, for your time here today. And seriously might think about coming back in our next meeting in February if you want to. Just communicate with me and we'll take care of that, right?
Happy to do that.
Happy holidays, all right?
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, folks. Thanks for your time.
All right. Next up.
Is the point where the motion, maybe with the help of the neighborhood assistant, that this, I'm sorry, can we make a motion to not support this, or perhaps make a motion to not support, you said it was Bill 60?
Yeah. No, we cannot. We cannot at this time with the OIP, what's going on right now that we're trying to straighten up. We cannot. So we're just trying to follow this straight. Okay.
All right.
And I'm sure Board Member Lai understands that. All right. Thank you.
Good Chair.
All right. So next, we're supposed to be having Pro Parks announcement about the increase in our garages, municipal garages. I just got an email this afternoon from Pro Park. Person presenting could not make it. They had a family emergency, but they will be here in February about it. Okay. All right. So moving on, I want to introduce the Wrecking Crew feature film. Up next is location manager Timmy Chin of the Wrecking Crew. crew. As a reminder, I've allocated a total of 10 minutes, including public and board member questions and responses. So let us know what you have to share.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for inviting us here. This is good. Can you hear me?
No. Yeah.
There you go. How's that? Better.
Okay.
So my name is Timmy Chen. As Ernie said, I'm the location manager for Hawaii for the feature film, The Wrecking Crew, starring Jason Momoa, David Bautista, and 2 local talent, Branscombe Richmond and Brian Keolana. We're here tonight because we're planning a shoot in Chinatown, Kekalike Mall, and some on Mauna Kea Street, 2 different days in January. We don't have the dates solidified yet, but we're getting close. We're planning on using or hiring a little over 200 neighborhood and other people to help us. We're doing like a celebration, kind of mimicking a Chinese New Year celebration on Kekalike Mall. So we have a cooperation of Mauna Kea Marketplace, Abe Kwok, Shulan is helping assistant Alex, and Leonard Cam from Chinatown 808. One of the days that we shoot will actually be at night, and that will be on Kekalike Mall. I'm not sure what else. I mean, if any questions? Yes, I'm sorry. This is my assistant Alex Sundquist, and we also have Sonoy Damon from the Honolulu Film Office.
Take it away, Alex.
Hello, board. Thank you for having us, and thank you to the Chinatown community for always your willingness to support filming. It just supplies so many jobs and the trickle-down effect that we give to the community, from, buying and food and everything. We just really appreciate the support, and Chinatown is just such a historical, beautiful location that can never be created in a film stage. So just that we have the opportunity to film these locations and streets is just, truly a blessing. And we thank you and the board for having us, and city and county for permitting us to do, these filming activities for this production in the past and in the future as well. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you. Before we move on, questions from the public, followed by the board, I'd just like to advise that this will be happening in January. The dates is still to be announced because they got to work with different conflicting things. So, do we have any members from the public, either in the lobby or online, who has any questions for the Wrecking Crew film team? All right, not seeing any. Is she raising her hand? Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, that's it. I didn't know. All right, thank you. All right, so now we'll go ahead and move on to the board members. Go ahead, Board Member Laura.
I have a question. Will there be road closures in the evening at all, like on King Street or Hotel Street while the filming?
Board Member Sturgis. We will be doing a night scene on Kekalike Mall. So the pedestrian traffic, we'll never fully close the mall, but we do intermittently control it. So while cameras are rolling, we typically try to say we're going to hold, 3 to 4 minutes, and then we release. Everybody can go. There is 2 residential buildings there that we need to speak with, and we have been speaking with. But to answer your question regarding streets, there is a scene that takes place on Mauna Kea Street between Pauahi and Hotel Street. So we're still coordinating with the city on that, whether it'll be full closure, partial closure, lane closure, or just intermittently traffic control. We are doing a stunt there, a character we're simulating somebody gets hit by a car there, and just for safety and logistics, it'll maybe a partial closure between those streets, Pauahi and Hotel. And we're also working with the bus for intermittent control of Hotel, traveling Eva and Diamond Head bound.
All right. Thank you. I do appreciate it. Next, we have Board Member Armstrong, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do a mean Jack Lord impression in case you need somebody with a lot of hair. Could you give us the two-sentence thesis of the movie? I didn't hear that. So,
Yeah, of course.
and thank you for coming and choosing the most interesting neighborhood in the state.
Yeah, no, it's been very enlightening for us and learning about the community events, and I hope to attend in the future. Quick synopsis. Timmy mentioned it's Dave Bautista and Jason Momoa. They play half brothers that are cops. Jason Momoa has moved off island, but he returns to island to reunite with his long lost brother who don't get along, but then they end up getting together. Basically, they're investigating their father's suspicious murder. It's a comedy action movie that'll be on Amazon.
Thank you. Next, we had Board Member Ross Isokani, please.
Hi, yes. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the work you're doing. I mean, you know, a lot of people support the film industry in Hawaii because it stimulates our economy, a lot of jobs. It sounds like 100% of this film is in Hawaii. Correct me if I'm wrong. But my question is, maybe if you can provide commentary, what level of support are you getting from the city or the state, just in terms of financial tax credits? Because you know, it's a really stimulating part of the economy for some people. So I'm interested.
Thank you, Board Member Ross. Let me maybe answer that. I mean, I know our tax credit was recently extended, I believe, till 2034, and we're getting 20%, and then Outer Island is, I believe, 25%. So the production will get some of that. To answer your first part of your question, you know, a lot of movies and films are starting to go overseas. And, you know, that's due to a lot of things such as strikes and union and all this stuff. Long story short, about 80% of the film is filmed in New Zealand, and they cheat New Zealand as Hawaii. But there's some scenes that they have to pick up in Hawaii. So there's about 12 shoot days here in Hawaii that they will pick up. But a lot of movies are, you know, filming in Atlanta and stuff like that. And then they'll pick up scenes here in Hawaii. But hopefully in the following years, we get some movies that fully film, you know, start to finish in Hawaii. But this one is only, you know, a couple weeks in Hawaii.
Do we have any other board members with any other questions? All right, hearing none, I'll go ahead and end. I want to thank you folks for being here today and bringing this into Chinatown. I am a strong opponent of more filming in Hawaii. And right behind you is our Representative Kim Coco, state legislator. So if they can start working on some bill on keeping and maintaining a film industry strong in Hawaii, instead of having these scenes shot outside of Hawaii and New Zealand and all that, I appreciate it.
You mean you're a proponent?
Huh?
You said you were an opponent.
No.
You meant proponent.
Oh, yeah, I'm proponent for it. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a proponent of it. If I said opponent, so, no. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. I'm proponent, so I support you guys, the film industry here. So see what our state legislators can do for us in making sure that our film industry stays strong in Hawaii name. Okay. All right. Thank you guys very much, and hope to hear from you guys in the coming weeks and months.
Thank you, Chairman Carvalho, and thank you, board.
All right. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Thank you guys for everything. I am sorry about that. I've been dealing.
I did it.
It's been a rough day at work, so I do apologize. Okay. So next up, we have Park Place. Hold on. Got it. So we're going to be introducing Oceanside Bakery Parklet Project, right?
Yes.
So we have Fenny. I can't pronounce your name, so I don't want to miss it.
Kulu. Kulu.
Chulu.
Kulu.
Chulu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty close.
I'm going to learn it.
All right.
I'm going to learn it.
Kulu.
All right.
Quilos. That's
All right.
that's good enough. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Well, Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for making space on your agenda. My name is Fanny Queloz. I recently opened a bakery on Smith Street. I don't know if you've seen it. If you've seen it, called Oceanside Bakery. It kind of happened because of the people. I was renting this little space at 176 Smith Street for catering purposes. And I had people knocking on the door constantly. Oh, it smells so good. Can you please, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I went into the space and I decided to open up. And we've been flooded with people coming, neighbors, just really a big diversity of people coming to see us. And today I would like to ask for the proposal of a parklet. I am working with René Espinal from the Department of Transportation and City. So she is helping me with the parklet application, which includes all kinds of regulation on the sizes, the height, and usage. So it's basically, I don't know if you're familiar with what Y&I Street has done. They have done a different kind of parklets across from different stores. So it's basically a little outdoor space for people to be able to come enjoy not only our business, but other businesses. We have a poke store next to us. We have the mud studio down the street. So it's just, yeah, it's a very nice way to enhance the street, make it possible for people to come and sit, either enjoy something from our place, but also from the other place, or just sit and come and meet with friends, families. It's a beautiful, quiet place just before Beretania. So there's a lot of greens. It's kind of slow. There's not too much traffic. It really, I think it would really add to that street, and maybe also just to Chinatown in general. A lot of people walk from their apartment buildings through that street to go to Chinatown for shopping, for eating, for socializing, banking, whatever. And they see us and they stop and they chat. And I love Chinatown. I think it's a great community. I'm very close to the customers. We really fit in, somehow, and it came very naturally. And as a small business owner, it is not easy to grow a business in Hawaii, especially when you're not funded or you're just pretty much self-making. The customers are really what makes it or doesn't make it. And enhancing not only our business, but other people's small business would be, is what we're looking for. So I'm sure you have a lot of questions.
All right. Thank you. I do appreciate it. Yeah. So can I just call you by Fanny for the time being? So I don't pronounce your last name.
No.
I do apologize about that. So now we're going to go ahead and open up for questions. As a reminder that you may keep your responses to questions brief, direct, and to the point, so we can keep the discussion productive and efficient. No action may be taken as a board on this member. I'm opening up the floor to the public first, both in the lobby and online. All right, see none, hear none. We'll go ahead and start with the board members. Board Member Armstrong.
Just a point of clarification, if we wanted to support this, it would be on the agenda for February? Okay, all right. So you can count on that if the chair agrees to
Correct.
having it on the agenda for February.
So all you
Because
need
we
to
have
do
to
is
have
let me know.
notice for the public.
Okay.
And it would have been in January, but that's the 1 month we recess because of the New Year's week.
All right.
Just want to know, what hours would this parklet probably be in operation? I know that it's a lot of
Right.
dependent on weather, but is it a morning thing or is it an all-day thing or what?
I think that, I've done a lot of research on parklets because we do want something that is for the public, but we don't want a night activity on it. So the seating area is probably what's going to be the most engaging to people to come and sit down and chat. So we have two schedules. So we were thinking of having it morning as we open the store. And then we always have somebody closing around 6-ish. So, you know, when we close, that parklet would be, you know, folded up. And yeah, it's a full day. And like it says on the map, you know, it says parking, so public space, so people can come and enjoy that. We will take care of the building, the maintaining, the cleaning, and then also, you know, there is a learning curve on how the people are going to react. You know, I mean, with the Department of Transportation and Street Usage, they are giving me opportunity to do 6 months permits and then redo after 6 months. So I think that's too short, you know, for the investment, obviously, but, you know, at least we can see whether it works.
All right, thank you. Next, we're going to go to Board Member Rossi Sakani.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for being here. You know, so I know you're working with the City Department of Transportation Services. My guess is, and my understanding is, your only obligation is to inform us and the public. So I guess you've done that. You don't really need our support or objection, but thank you for coming and just, you know, being transparent for the public. Maybe my question is, for the permitting process with DTS, how are they actually assessing how busy the street is? I don't actually drive and park in Chinatown because I live nearby. So I'm just wondering, are they doing a study to see?
So when I first approached them, they asked me for my location. They asked me for pictures of the location so they can, you know, see it from their office. I don't think they came on site yet, but you know, it's a one-way street. It's a slowdown. So people are slowing down because they're arriving at the Veritania. So, and then it's not the way it is. It's not like, it's not close to another parking. So there's an entrance or a driveway. And, you know, that was my first place to call and say, is this even possible? So how they exactly measure it, I'm not sure. But for them, it was a yes. You know, okay, you can apply. You got to go to the board meeting, introduce yourself, see if they're okay with it, if they would like something like this happening. And then we can go forward with a contractor, with more specific that are. This is actually also going to be part of my little package. So, you know, and then, yeah, step by step.
All right, next we have, we'll go ahead with Board Member Sturgis, followed by Board Member McDonald, followed by Board Member McCarney, then followed by Board Member Lai.
My question is, you're across from Smith Beretania Park?
Yes.
Okay, how are you going to be dealing with the homeless?
Thank you for the question. That was like the first thing that when I first had the idea, I thought, that's not going to work, you know, blah, 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 blah. But I've been there for about 1.5 years, almost 2. So I know the homeless. I know who's around. I see them. I'm there 18 hours a day. And then I was like, you know what? It's going to work out. We're going to make it work. Some of them we kind of like have kind of like, not a sympathy, but we know their routine. We kind of know, of course, there's all kinds of things always happening. HPD has been amazing. They're always around. You know, if I come in the morning, it's a little sketchy. Sometimes I get there at 3 in the morning, you know, so it's a little sketchy. So I call them, like, I'm going in, there's some commotions. They just kind of come around. It's been really great. I have had the best experience as a business owner on that street. And I want to promote that. I want to show that it is possible to have good business in Chinatown now, you know, even as a small business owner. And I think that if we do that, that will show it, you know, than if we just say, oh, you know, like we got to deal with what's around us. And practically, I think that what we're going to do, we're going to take the tables and turn everything upside down, tie everything down. So there's not like a cozy place for them to hang out at night if they'd like to.
All right, so yeah, I appreciate that. And actually, that park area is getting a lot cleaner. Yeah, they're a lot cleaner than it was. Trust me. We worked hard on it. The Lions have worked. All right, so remember, everyone, questions brief, answers brief. Okay, so we've got to stay on the roll. Next is Board Member McCarney, Board Member McDonald, then McCarney.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to take the chair's lead and just call you Fanny. But thank you for being here. I have two questions. I'm going to try to get them in my time limit. The first one's inspired by your response to Member Armstrong's question. What does happen to it at night? Does it fold up? Does it go away, or does it stay out there? Like what happened to it after the business closes? And then I'm going to ask my second question, if it's all right, the same to you. It's no secret that I'm a huge supporter of business, and I love stories like yours. I would like to ask you, since we're not allowed to vote to support you, I'd like to ask you if you're getting any pushback from any city officials or government officials or government agencies that are pushing back at you or making it difficult for you. And if you could list them for me, or if it hasn't happened yet, if it does happen, you can come back to me so I can hold their feet to the fire and try and get them to be a little bit more supportive of our local businesses. I believe government's job is to get out of the way of business, not to hold them back. So do you have is there anything
5 seconds left.
that's giving you trouble that you would like to point out?
First
Thank you.
question.
Good question.
Sorry. First question. The structure is going to be solid. It's going to be heavy. Nobody can move it. It won't bulge even if a car hits it. That's the plan. So we're not going to move that at night. The seating, the umbrellas are going to go in. All the tables, I'm looking at tables that we can turn around, like I was saying, and tie down. So the whole area is not a place where you can come and put a tent or live in it, because that was one of the things that we were trying to figure out, how to keep it safe during the night and also clean, but we will clean it. And I hope that's a good answer for you. And then for the second answer, I have been blessed, honestly, to the aloha from everybody, from my neighbors, it's been something really incredible, because really, I feel the love, the aloha, the support. So I keep on going, and I hope, we won't disappoint, and I hope everything will be great.
All right. Thank you very much. Next is up is Board Member McCartney, please.
Thank you, Los. I'll try. So that's great. I love parklets, and I'm familiar with the ones on Wailea, and I'm also familiar with projects that Blue Planet has done with Better Block Hawaii, where they've done demonstration projects with parklets all over the city. I don't know if DTS connected them with them at all, but they have a lot of experience in parklets. And so the other question I have on that, you have a lot of people who know how to do this. So I just want to make sure that you connect in with those folks. Are you taking a paid parking space?
Yes. And that's what is the application for. And then the permit is going to be paid. I don't know the fee, but I don't think it's very much for that kind of project. I think it's tied in. If you go on I think it's the board of transportation, city, and I'm just not sure. I'm not good with those names. But anyway, there is a link with parklet guides, and there's a whole everything that you need to know about parklets and how to build them and what the requirements are. And then it is a paid parking, but there is a lot of parking on that street, and that was one of the Miss Renee's mentioned that, there's a lot of parking. It's not like I'm taking a huge space, and in a very busy area. So it's kind of like the end of the street.
I think anything we can do to take the streets back for people, which is what parklets do,
right,
and help businesses have places for people to sit down and enjoy outside of their establishment, is fantastic. So I commend you for that and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very, very much, Board Member McCartney. Next, we have Board Member Lai, please.
Thank you, Chair. Ms. Kulo, I appreciate your entrepreneurial spirit. I think we need more of that in Chinatown. I just want to make sure that what you're proposing is going to be a good match for the neighbors in the area. I'll get to that in just a moment. I think that you're probably following the standardized rules and regulations that DTS have suggested calling this a parklet, but it seems more to me like it's not a green park per se, but more of a private dining pavilion, a private outdoor lounge, a sponsored dining space. I just wonder how that plays into it. You've addressed the traffic flow, and the question was just asked about the buying out, I hope that's what it represents, of a parking space over the term of the experiment. Can you give us an idea of what that fee might be? And secondly, I wanted to address a few of the surveys that you had proposed or are located now in our online folder. I saw 3 there. Do you know if they were all from Chinatown citizens? And lastly, will there be any sound that will come from this area that might bother or disturb the condominium and apartment towers that are right across from the park? Thank you.
Okay, I feel like there was a lot there. The first thing, like a private dining area, I understand what you're saying. And I think the parklet, it's really more about integrating the small business aspect into the life of people in the Chinatown. So it has that aspect. It's not a park to put their bicycles or to plant plants. It's more a park to sit and enjoy the local businesses around, and which includes the poke place, which includes me on that street. The idea is to promote more businesses to create those environments. If you've been to Europe, you'll see those everywhere, but they're not called parklets. They're just an extension of the businesses to welcome more people and just bring blood and movement around on that street. And that's one. The surveys that I've made, I've talked to a lot of our customers. I'm telling everybody, I said, I'm hoping to build this. Everybody's excited. Everybody's right now on the sidewalk with my little tables. So a lot of people come and sit and do their little computer work or whatever they do. The other thing is my neighbors are really, the local neighbors have been I have letters from all my neighbors that have signs that I have to build together for the parklet program. So I have my landlord, I have all my neighbors around, and everybody's in favor of it.
Last question. All right.
Oh, and the sound of people chatting, you would say, I think that most of the businesses around are businesses, so I don't think that would be a big issue. It will never be as loud as sometimes people screaming around.
I think was there any amplified sound or music coming from the parklet?
I don't think we're going to put music on the parklet, that's for sure. I mean, I don't see the need, to put music. And we have music in the bakery that doesn't really sound on the street. So
all right.
I don't know if that was.
Okay. Thank you. So that's the questions from our board. I would like to say thank you, Fanny, very much. I love your idea as rail comes through Chinatown area, if it ever comes through Chinatown area. I want to see them closing down Hotel Street to open it up to the businesses to be able to put their dining outside. I know you don't agree with it, to put your businesses outside and so people can walk, because it's a walkable area. You know what I mean? The streets like Smith, Nuano will continue to go this way. But in between Hotel Street, right. I like to see that happen. We are a walkable community. And with rail coming, we do not need any buses coming down this area. And as far as noise, the noise from the people screaming on the streets are louder than the music that has been played by the businesses. I'm going to tell you that right now, because I hear it every single night, waking me up all night long. So
Can I say something?
Yes.
On that Hotel Street idea, I heard about it, and I come from a very small town, and we had something like this that happened. So they eventually cut it in the middle and said, okay, so we're gonna close the street from 5 p.m. on, or from 4 p.m. on to that time. So it still gave, most of the morning hustle bustle, the space to move. And then from this time, the streets were closed, and it was easy to maintain. And
good idea. But anyway, thank you very much for everything. And I'm going to contact you because the CCO from Mokulele Airlines definitely wants to speak to you. So, okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Chair.
We are moving on to our next item, which will be public concerns at this point. Board member, live.
Thank you, Chair. I raise a point of information to address an earlier item before we move on to this agenda item regarding agenda item number 1.
What are you talking about?
Thank you, Chair. I wish to clarify some statements that were made earlier regarding the statement that was made about the postponement of the meeting from
Okay,
last
so
month.
just, no, hold on.
Yeah.
Board member Lai, I made an apology about us meeting, not having a meeting last month. I said what was factual. It was brought on by you, and that was a fact. It was just a statement. We're not going to discuss an announcement of my apology to the public, to the presenters. We're going to move forward. If you
Chair.
want to bring this, hold on. If you want to bring this up, then you may ask me as chair that you would like to bring this up and put it on the agenda. Then we can do that per OIP rules, which you love OIP so much. So we're going to follow OIP rules. That is the rules, and that is what we've been told. So we're moving on.
Chair, I appeal your ruling because I
So we're
feel
not
like,
going to go backwards. We're going to move forward. The discussion is over. All right.
Chair,
thank you
I
very
appeal
much.
your ruling.
Next, we're moving to public concerns. There anyone in the public that would like to say something that has a concern, you can do so at this time. I'd like to remind board members that we are not considered the public as we are considered elected officials for the board. This is only for the public. Do we have anyone online or anyone in the lobby that has a public concern? All right. Hearing none, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move ahead. Okay. Next is elected officials. Any speakers, please note, if you have provided a report to answer questions from a previous month, I have shared that with the public and the board in advance via Google Drive in the internet. In the interest of time, you do not need to read your responses as the public and board receive your response in advance. That's if you sent it to me, because there's a lot that people that have not sent it to me. All right. So we'll go ahead and start off with Congressman Ed Case representative. Do we have his representative here? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll go ahead. Governor Josh Green's representative, Stephen Downs, please. Thank you.
Good evening. I did send the governor's message, so I can take any questions.
Go ahead. Anyone from the, we'll open up to the public first. Anyone from the public? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move to board members. Board member Isakani, please.
Hi, yes, thank you again for being here. Hope your holidays are going great. I did want to ask a question about the recent election. I know Governor Green was very vocal during the election, and whether regardless of your politics, I'm happy he was vocal. But really, the role of a governor, I think, and the role of the state, we rely a lot on the federal government. So maybe my question is just wondering what's Governor Green's plan now in terms of reaching out or communicating with the next president. Thank you.
Any other board members? Go ahead, board member McDonald, please.
Thank you. You're the representative for Dr. Green, our governor. Is that right?
Yes.
So I'm going to ask this of all of our state legislators, but the governor included. How are we going to address the scandalous disaster that was this last election? There were 4 polling places. People waited until midnight to vote after getting in line before the polls closed at 11. Mailing, there is, I don't know if fraud's the right word, but there's definitely a problem with the mail-in ballots. I have a friend who got 2 ballots. I have another friend who received a ballot for a roommate that has been gone for over 3 years. I have another friend who has a former roommate who moved away over 5 years ago and then died over 3 years ago, I think longer than that, and received a ballot. And how this election was a disaster. And I've been voting in this state for 34 years now, and it's never been such a problem. So we need to make this better and easier for people to vote.
All right, thank you. Any other board members with a question for governor's representative? All right, hearing none, seeing none. I want to thank you very much for being here once again, and happy holidays. Omele kaliki maka, ameke haoli maka ikiho.
Thank you. Same to you. And I have my email address on the agenda
Yes.
if you need to reach me for anything else. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Next, we have Merrick Blangiotti's representative, Ian Sante.
Hi, good evening, Chair. Good evening, board members. Again, Ian Santi, Deputy Director, Emergency Services Department. Apologies not for being there in person. I was coming from a Christmas parade. Happy holidays on behalf of Mayor Blangiardi, and I was not able to send you my report, Chair. So I do just have one thing that I'm going to address, and that was a request for a bus lane on Bishop Street from the previous meeting. And DCS, thanks for the request. And they are in the near term, the Department of Transportation Services will repaint the curbs red in this area to better highlight the no parking zones around the bus stop. The DCS has started work on the Honolulu Transit Comprehensive Operations Analysis Plan that will develop and plans for transit improvements and including bus lanes. DTS will consider your comments as part of that planning work. I don't have anything else and available for any questions.
All right, thank you. We'll go ahead and open up to the public first, both online and in the lobby. Does anyone in the public have any questions? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll go ahead and start with the board members. We'll actually start this time with board member Lai, please. You're muted, please. Unmute.
Chair, thank you. I just realized that my question was not about something that Mr. Santee specifically mentioned, so I can't raise a question. I'll withdraw. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Board member Isakani, please.
Hello, Mr. Santee. My question is related, I think, directed to BFS. It relates to the Transit Mitigation Fund. I was interacting with Councilmember Dos Santos Tam, and his assumption was that there would be an online portal for the Transit Mitigation Fund. Again, that's for the small businesses that have been impacted by the rail construction. His guess was that an online portal would be opened up by the end of the year for the impacted businesses. Now, I've been looking and I haven't seen anything on the website yet. So maybe I'm looking in the wrong place, but I was just wondering if BFS had an update and specifically if it's not up yet, what the game plan is for how it's going to get promulgated to the public. Thank you.
We'll get the answers to you next meeting. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Board member Armstrong, please.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Santee. Just really quick question for our next meeting in February. Could you give us an update on the progress of the Department of Transportation and in particular the handy van program?
Understood. Yeah, we'll look into it for you and make sure we have it back.
I did not hear his answer. Did anybody hear it?
Sorry,
Okay.
yeah, we'll
Thank you so much.
We'll get you an answer. Apologies.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so our next question will come from board member McDonald, please.
Thank you. I meant to ask this of the city councilman, but I know that our mayor can veto some city ordinance. I was very disappointed to hear about the ban of the sale of fireworks, especially for the most part, pretty harmless fireworks. And the concern was safety, but this is Honolulu, and we have so much fireworks here that are illegal that it's practically a joke anyway. The idea that we're going to save lives or save injuries with this seems to me a little bit off. It seems to me we would be better off allow it because there's so much illegal that we can't tax or generate any revenue from. It seems to me we would be much, much better off allowing the sale of these items, taxing them and using a portion of that tax revenue to go towards safety programs, fire prevention, that sort of thing. So I would like to know what the mayor's stance is on that and if he it may be too late now because we missed last month's meeting, but maybe he can veto or send this back to the city council for some sort of rejuvenation, because it seems to me we're far better off legalizing these things and taxing them and using that revenue to do the prevention that we're trying to do a very poor job of by banning them. The ban is not working at all. We need to go another direction. Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you. Any other board members? All right. Oh, you can answer if you can, but usually they take it and they write it down because they got good time. Yeah.
But if they're going to vote, I kind of want to know.
Go ahead.
Just,
Yeah,
just,
please,
just a
the best.
question. I mean, maybe just to clarify, you're talking about Bill 22, I think, that passed and the mayor vetoed. I thought that was going to relieve the ban on fireworks.
They voted against it. Dos Santos Tam was on the news voting against.
Yeah, but okay, well, okay, I'll look into that more now. Thanks for the education.
They actually interviewed him on tape and he said,
Okay. All right. So we'll move on to make this meeting smoother and crisp. Let's go ahead and move on. So I do have a complaint, and I've been getting a lot of complaints. So the complaint basically triggers, we're having trash pickup trucks between 2:30 in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, blowing their horns all night long while they're doing the trash pickups within the Downtown-Chinatown area. And people are getting upset about it. They want to know why, especially on a Sunday, that they have to deal with this at 3 o'clock in the morning. Especially when the trucks go backwards, you get the beep, 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 you get all this noise, and they want this issue addressed here. They understand that trash needs to be picked up and things need to happen. But at 3 o'clock in the morning, when they're trying to sleep on a Sunday and just want to relax on their day off, why does it have to be this way? And I know we're not the only community, because I know Waikiki brought this up, all right? So if you can check into that, I would appreciate that. Board Member McDonald, please.
Armstrong.
Armstrong.
Yeah, we are very similar. Anyway, anyways, your comment helped me to remind Mr. Santi about one other issue, and you and I talked about this. I'm blanking on what we called it, but the pre-holiday celebration that was on Bethel Street in front of the Hawaii Theater.
DASL.
The
DASL.
Dine, eat, sleep, and
dine, arse, the shop.
Okay.
And
yeah, there seem to be some problems with the city departments syncing together and talking to one another, and then after decisions were made, pivoting quickly. It was a very disappointing start, although it was a start, and it will get better, I'm sure. But could you please help us to understand and unravel what went on and why the street fair did not occur as promised? Could you look into that?
Yep, I can look into that. And then, Chair, I do have a question. Do you have the specific streets that you're referring to in regards to the rubbish noise?
yeah, so you can go down Bethel,
Okay.
Merchant, Smith, Nuano, Bishop. I can name a whole bunch of streets coming down, and it is irritating. So, and what you got to understand. So I live on a 20th floor, and the thing about noise is, if you're in the lower floors, it's not as loud. But when you go up it, when you live on a higher floor, noise gets louder.
Yeah.
And that's the way it works. So it's very extremely loud. And like myself, I'm not going to close my window because I got it where I'm facing the mountain and the winds come and blow in. So it keeps my place nice and cool. I mean, between the noise of the trucks and the people yelling and screaming on the streets all night long, the homeless, the addicted, it is frustrating. And it has to stop, yeah? And then we need to get Sun Yat-sen Park area cleaned up again, please.
Okay. We'll make note of it and go get back to you. Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you very much. Where am I at? Okay, go ahead, one more question from Board Member Sturgis.
Who's in charge of the maintenance of sidewalks?
That depends on where the sidewalk is. So there have been different, both the Department of Facility Maintenance and the Department of Recreation does have certain sidewalks. So if you give me a specific location, we can get you that information.
Yeah, 'cause I tripped and fell and I injured my, it was on Veritania, right by the Smith Veritania bus stop. There
Okay.
was an upraised ledge and I hit it and I went down hard. Yeah, I'm healing. I'm healing though.
All right, thank you. So before we go, I'm not seeing anyone online, board members? Nope, not seeing anyone. I just have one more quick thing to say before we say happy holidays to you. Can you please get the city out there and power wash our street from all this pigeon dew that's all over the place that we walk? It is disgusting, it's ugly, and it's nasty. And with bird flu going around, we don't know. So please get someone out there power washing. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Insante. You have a great day. Happy holidays. Melikali Kimaka.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Next up is City Council District 6, Tyler DeSantos Tam. Do we have a representative online for Tyler?
Aloha. This is Jack Truesdale for Councilmember DeSantos Tam. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, so a few updates that I can share. Bill 50 relating to parades has become a lot more focused on strictly Waikiki, so scope reduced to not really have any effect on Chinatown. Bill 56 having to do with the transferring of malls like the Fort Street Mall over to DTS. We're going to put the pause on that for now until January, and in January hopefully have it transfer all the malls, not just Fort Street and another mall. And all, I believe 7 of those malls are in Chinatown proper. And then we also had some news about a alleged game room reported in the 1100 block of Nu'uanu Avenue. Neighbors observed machines being loaded into this building that's right next to Native Books. People observed some suspicious individuals loitering around at all hours. What's that?
No, I said it's by Mark's Garage area.
Yeah. And so we do have HPD working on that right now, and we'll hopefully know more in the coming days. So yeah, and I will drop a link in the chat to our latest newsletter, and for anybody who wants to peruse that. Meanwhile, we are still in the early stages of drafting some sidewalk dining legislation that we will hopefully have more news to share in the coming weeks and months. So yeah, if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know and I will take them down. And
All right.
see what I
Thank
can do.
you very much, Jack. Before we move on to the public and the board, Jack, may I ask why we did not get a report from Councilman Tyler DeSantos this month? And I put both of you guys on an email thread. No,
Okay.
they sent me a report that I put into my Google Drive. So they didn't send a report to me to put into the Google Drive and that's what they do. It's something they always do. So I sent you guys an email and it never came. I just want you guys to be aware to please always send a report to me so I can get
Okay.
it into Google Drive. Thank you. Because we have a lot of people online that do not come here that needs to see that. All right?
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. So do we have anyone in the public? And everyone remember, please keep your questions direct, straight, and to the point so we can continue to move smoothly through. Hear no one from the public, online or in here, we'll go ahead and move to our board members. We'll go ahead and start with Board Member McDonald.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Jack, for being here. I'm going to try and keep this brief. Hopefully you were listening when I was grilling the mayor's assistant. But I did see Councilman DeSantos Tam on the news supporting his vote against the legalization of some very small type, not even the aerial displays, but just like lady fingers and little swirly things and pretty minimal things in the auspice of injury prevention and fire prevention. But it seems to me that with the fireworks, the way that they are in Honolulu, if you go up to any high rise, it looks like the entire town is carpeted with aerial fireworks. It's ridiculous, excuse me. And so I'm very curious, and I'd like the councilman to respond to why he would go in the obviously not working direction of banning the fireworks and instead of legalizing them and taxing them and using and trying to get some of that revenue to help address these issues. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. So the next board member is Sakani, please.
Hi, Jack. Thanks for being here. I wanted to get an update, and yeah, again, you can come back for the next meeting. Just an update on progress on the city's affordable housing initiatives. I just want to thank the council member. I mean, he's been speaking passionately about Bill 46, which I believe is coming up for a vote at the next council meeting for the empty homes tax. But just in general, I know the city council has been working on a lot of initiatives. I think there was Bill 3, 2024 earlier this year for construction grants. So I was just curious if there was a mechanism by which we're tracking progress on these grants and just seeing if anything was coming to fruition. Thank you.
Yeah, I will make a note of that. The empty homes tax is pending, so we'll see how that goes.
All right, thank you. Do we have any other board members? You may ask another question. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just going to ask a follow-up. I love that member Isokani brought that up. And the last time we had this discussion, I asked about an empty commercial real estate property tax as well. I was walking around Chinatown, and there are so many boarded up businesses that I know there are entrepreneurs dying to make an effort to open a small shop, a business, a little crack seed store, something they could do. So we need to get these commercial real estate holders to do the effort. I'm wondering if the councilman has made any effort to amend the bill or add a separate bill. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks.
All right, any other board members? All right, hearing none, seeing none. I want to thank you, Melikaliki Maka. As you know, we're not going to be here in January. Our next meeting will be in February, okay? Thank you very much. We do appreciate it. All right, next up, we'll be having Power Rose representatives, State Senate District 13, please. See you there.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen and members of the board. My name is Braden Chung, and tonight I'll be representing Senator Carl Rhodes. So during the session, he's planning to introduce bills that address public funding for political candidates. He is planning to introduce a bill that will grant full funding for political candidates, as well as a bill that will increase the current political funding for political candidates. In response to board member Lai's concern regarding emotional support animals in food service areas, of course, if you see any animals in a food service preparatory area, you may email the Department of Health Food Safety Branch at doh.foodsafetyoahu at doh.hawaii.gov or call the phone number at 808-586-8000. And currently, Senator Rhodes is looking at possible bills that will tighten the rules, but of course, passing a law is not effective unless if you report these incidents. And upon hearing the Supreme Court decisions of HRS 661B relating to wrongful conviction and imprisonment, Senator Rhodes thinks that this is a step in the right direction, but the main idea of the law was to get financial help to those who were wrongfully imprisoned quickly. And it's not clear to him if that decision will do. And currently he is looking into further legislation depending on how current cases are decided. And of course, Senator Rhodes is preparing bills for next session. If you have any bill ideas, you can let me know right now, and you can let him know through email or by phone number. And I believe you guys have his phone number. And I just like to thank the members of the board and the public for letting me speak tonight. This is my last couple weeks as an intern, so I will not be seeing any of you guys next year. And I just would like to thank you guys for letting me speak, represent Senator Carl Rhodes.
All right, thank you very much. Can I ask you to please send over a report from the senator? We definitely appreciate it. I did not get you guys' report. He usually sends me a report every month. Yeah. I
Yeah,
appreciate
I'd like
that.
to apologize for that, sir.
Oh,
I'm
no
sorry about
problem. So we'll open this up to the public. Anyone online or in our lobby, should I say library? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll go to our board members. Any board members? We'll start with board member Iskan and then board member McDonald.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Braden. Great to hear that the senator, as the chair of the Senate Judiciary Committees, will be supporting, it sounds like, public financing of campaigns. That's a big one. I think Vice Chair Fitzsimmons will be very disappointed to hear the wrongful convictions response, so he'll probably bring that up next. The two questions I wanted to ask just on potential more kind of legislative reform initiatives. I hear a lot about pushing for more campaign contribution restrictions on contractors, owners, officers, and families. So I'm wondering if that might be on the docket, and also maybe just the power of committee chairs to kill or indefinitely defer bills. So just follow up whenever you have time. Thank you.
All right, board member McDonald.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you also for being here. First, tell the senator that we miss him. We didn't see him throughout the entire legislative session the last year, and we haven't seen him since. He has been noticeably absent, and of course, we miss seeing him here. I would take issue with Member Isokani. The last thing we need to do is be using public funds to support public campaigns. We saw the way the vice president blew through $1 billion and didn't get what she wanted. I don't think public money should be used for that. But also, this is the state, and the most important thing, the state is responsible for holding our elections, and our election was a disaster. There was people waiting until midnight to vote. We didn't know the results of the vote for days. We used to have polling places all across. We used to vote in this building that we're in now. This is where I voted pre-COVID. I have several people who received ballots for people that don't live here anymore, one that's dead, and one person received 2 ballots. So I would like to hear what the senator's suggestions are to correct the disaster that was this last election. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Any other board members? All right. Hearing none, seeing none. So State House District 26. So can we legally now call you representative? Were you not sworn in on the 5th?
No, I haven't been sworn in yet.
Oh.
But the staff, but interestingly, the HR staff refer to me as representative, not representative. So I don't know.
Because your pay, your time starts and pay starts in November, and he's ended in November.
That's correct. So he ended November 5th, and I began November 6th. So you are paying me. So you call me whatever you want.
Okay, no. So I'm going to call you Representative Kim Koko Iwatama.
Thank you. And it's, thank you so much. And it's District 25.
Oh,
yeah, no, it switched. It used to be 26, right?
Okay.
And then redistricting, it turned to,
25.
Yeah, so no worries.
We do apologize. We'll get that fixed.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your service. And I'm so happy I was here tonight in person. My daughter's, this would be her next school. So we were here. You probably heard a lot of commotion. It's because there was a open house for incoming, 5th graders who are going to be starting here at 6th grade. And I am so impressed by this school. Incredible. I'm like, wow. yeah, lots of after-school activities. I'm really excited, and I think she is too. So they're outside playing. She's outside playing. But thank you. So I just got a key to an office. I just got a laptop. So I don't have staff yet. I apologize. I don't have a report. But you know what? Being here and hearing the need to submit the report digitally to upload it to Google Docs, very helpful. Thank you. Yeah, but I can share with you the resolution you passed and sent on to the legislature regarding supporting good government reforms, both in rule changes, statutes, and constitutional amendment, has been circulated to the legislature. I did get it through my official email, and I think eight different neighborhood boards so far have also adopted it. So it's making an impact, right? We're like, whoa, but these people care, these people care. So that's the most important issue pressing right now at the legislature, because they are forming an ad hoc committee for proposed rule changes, which they haven't done in a long time. So the community, rising up has been heard. So we just got to keep up that, so thank you for that. Should I respond to some of the questions?
So yeah,
or should I wait for questions?
yeah, we can get some of it. If you have some questions that people asked you before, then you can answer their questions. But if not, then we can start. But before we start, once again, everyone already knows what I've said all night long, so I'm going to say the same thing. Please keep your questions direct. 1 minute time limit. Everyone straight to the point, and let's go in. And as I'm going to start off. I want to thank you guys for putting this through the state legislators. I actually got a lot of emails from the different boards asking if they could go ahead and jump on what we sent out. And I says, go for it. So everybody from Pro City, Guatemala, I've got them all over. So thank you very much. It really did work. So we show what the boards are trying to talk to each other now. And that's a great thing. So thank you very much. All right.
And can I respond to that?
Yes, you may.
So that was really important because in the last Be It Resolved, somebody had the clever idea of inserting and circulate this to the other neighborhood boards. And so that's how everyone else is being informed. So think about doing that every single time you guys do a resolution, if you want other people.
Right. No, appreciate it. Anyone else with a question for our representative? From the public first, yes. Seeing none, hearing none, any board members? Go ahead, Board Member McDonald, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Representative, for being here today. I want to say congratulations and very, very great to see you here. This is my third term on this board, and I was nominated without being elected before, so I've been on for a while. And you are the first representative from the lower house that I've seen here. So I'm really happy to see you here. Thank you very much. Senator Rhodes shows up. He's from the upper house, but really happy to see you. So thank you for being. I have 3 questions. You've heard me rant about the election, so I'll let you address that when you come to it, but I'm not very happy about it, clearly. The next thing, so as you're coming into the new legislative session, we don't have a lot of non-board members here today, but in my tenure here, the number one problem that I have seen from our constituents is homelessness and the crimes associated with
10
homelessness.
seconds, but I'll give you some leeway, okay?
Thank you, Chair. So I'd like to hear what your plans are to address that, which seems to be our number one issue here. And Senator Rhodes fails every time. And then finally, while I do think this is a beautiful school and we should all be very proud of it and its accomplishments, I don't feel like it's the best place for this board to meet. This is the Capitol District, and we have City Hall, we have the Capitol Building. I think we have a lot better options than in a school library.
Wind it down real quick.
So maybe you might be able to use your influence to find us a more appropriate place to meet.
You can answer this question. I'll answer this last question.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
And if you cannot, you can just follow up with the email to us.
Thank you, Member McDonald, for your question. So when the earlier city and county of Honolulu representatives of the representatives were speaking, I wanted you to ask them the question because, in fact, they carry out, the counties carry out elections logistics. Yeah, so they mail out the ballots, they maintain the voter records, they collect the ballots, they count the ballots at the legislature, but they're responsible. So I apologize. I don't want to be one of those people who are like, it's them. I don't mean to do that. But I just want to educate, like just make sure we know. And everything you raised, yes, it's happening. What you said about extra ballots being mailed, obviously, when a ballot is the signatures and then it's received, from my understanding, they do verify and that person's only allowed to have one ballot counted, right? So better two than none when they're a registered voter. Better send them when they're dead instead of not sending, because maybe they don't know somebody passed away a few years ago. And I know that happens because as a candidate, I knock on doors. I'm like, oh, your father passed. And I'm like, oh, is Mr. So-and-so here? Oh, he passed away like 5 years. So yeah, yes, everything you're saying, I'm like, yes, that's so true. And we do need to do a better job of purging the data. So yes. And it is county, and I think people. I don't know if it's about more money for the staff, for them to have more staff to go through and purge, and go through the obituaries, or go through the medical examiner's listing of who passed away and what their address was. I mean, I think your point is there is a way to maintain a better system. Yes, yeah. Absolutely. Thank you. No, thank you. And then the second was homelessness. Yes, that is. So I have been attending a few majority caucus. Sorry. This is the fan is right here. Sorry about that. The air conditioner is hitting me right here. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I'll just go like this. Hello. I have agency a little bit. Okay.
You're in power now.
Okay, I'm in a power position. So regarding homelessness, yes. So, I've been attending these, the meetings of the legislature, and that's the top of everyone's issue. That's a priority, definitely statewide. And we've heard a lot from the city and county and the state liaison, but it is about making sure there's enough resources. The legislature's number one job, primary directive, is to raise the revenue to provide for state, whether it's safety nets, whether it's the services like education, libraries, the raising funds starts with the legislature. There's no other branch of government that has that responsibility to initiate the collection of funds to pay for things, right? So in terms of homelessness, there's only 4,000 on Oahu who are unsheltered, meaning they're not receiving services in a shelter. Unsheltered homeless individuals, 4,000 is it's a number we can address. Absolutely, but we got to put more money. We have to make sure we have the treatment facilities for them. We need to make sure there's enough beds. And even Anton Kreki says they haven't provided the beds, right? So we still need to make sure that there are options for people so we're not forced just moving them from one sidewalk to the next, right? Sorry. So yes, it is a priority for many people. In addition to the empty homes tax that the county is working on, I am submitting a bill for an empty home surcharge. Although the Constitution prohibits the state legislature from taxing real property, we cannot tax real property, but this is not a tax on real property the way my bill is constructed. When somebody leaves their unit vacant, a condo, for instance, and there isn't no one's living there, and the investor makes a choice, I don't want anyone living in my investment. I'm going to keep it empty. Well, if there was a family living in there, They would be coming down the elevator, going down to the, the corner market, buying coffee, going to the grocery store, going out to restaurants. They would be, GET would be collected by the state. And then they, their money would go towards hiring staff at the restaurant, at the grocery store, so that's income tax. By all of these investors leaving their units vacant, they are denying the state the opportunity to collect state revenue, right? They're denying it. Even though we are paying for, the people who are here paying taxes, we are paying for all of the state infrastructure that allowed that condo to be built, that allowed people to have it in the marketplace and sell it in 5 years, right? Without the ports, without the roads, the airports, all the state infrastructure, that couldn't have happened. It couldn't have been an investment. So this is why my bill is going after the lost economic opportunity, not the real estate. Like, who cares? Anyway, so that's what I'm working on.
Yeah. And then for the third question that he had, I'll answer that question. So, no, we'll answer it right now. So our contract doesn't end until the end of this year, June. But Hawken, the new Hawken building, they have offered us the very fabulous, very nice air-conditioned space right there at their meeting room. It's a big meeting room. We would have full-size adult chairs. The Hawken building, they've offered us as a meeting place. They would like the Downtown-Chinatown board to meet there. And Nuuanu, as we know, is the center. Actually, it's supposed to be the center of Honolulu. It's right there on King and Nuuanu. It's really, I actually put some pictures of the meeting space into Google Drive that I have so you guys can see it. But that's one of the things they do want us to meet there. They say for all the support that this board has given to them, they do want that, okay?
Thank you. And can I just actually go back to my thing about the empty home surcharge? The most important point I forgot to make was, so we provide all the taxpayers pay for all the infrastructure. And it's not like that expense disappears. It goes to the people who are still here paying the taxes. That's the thing that people don't understand. When you give a tax credit, whether it's for film, whatever it is, whether you get a tax credit, when you don't collect taxes, when you're denied collecting, it shifts, that expense shifts to everyone else. And that is really important for everyone to remember as you think about this.
You gotta cut this one.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to allow board member Armstrong to ask a question, but I'm going to ask that you, Mr. McDonald, ask a question, but I'm going to ask that you give it back to us in written, because we're trying to keep this meeting progressing.
Just quickly, I appreciate what you're saying. One of my bigger concerns, the homeless, thank you for addressing that, but it's the crime associated with homelessness that really gets to me as a business owner and somebody who's a member of this community. People don't like to come here, not because so much of the homeless, but because of the crimes that they see that are committed as an element that comes along with that. And then finally, if you ever see me making a mistake like that with the city or county or whatever, as a member of this board, I take criticism very well. I'm used to it. So just come and interrupt me or give me the heads up and I'll be happy to listen.
Thank you.
Yeah, just send me the email on this one. We'll go ahead and take care of that. Board member Isakani has a question for you.
Thank you, Chair.
Move it around so everybody gets a chance.
Yep. Congratulations again. I know you were labeled as a change candidate, and sure enough, well, the change that we immediately see is you're here, and that's a big change for us. So thank you for being here. My quick question, and do you already have an idea? You're educating me since I don't really know a lot. Have you been assigned committees, or do you have an expectation of what committees you might?
Yes, I have been assigned to 3 committees. One is the Consumer Protection and Consumer Protection and Commerce, and the other one is Public Safety, which I'm the vice chair of, and finally Water and Land.
Perfect. Great. All right. Any other board members have any question? Hearing none, seeing none. Thank you very much, Representative Kim Poco.
One more thing, to get more people to come in person, maybe move them to the front of the line. That could be an interesting policy. Just If you're here if you show up in person, we're going to make you first among all of the electeds.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. I think being downtown would help a lot. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and move on to our fabulous State House District 20, Daniel Holt. Yep. Any representatives? Not seeing any. We'll go ahead and move on to our quarterly reports. Next is our quarterly reports. Please note, we're still working to figure out the best cadence for these quarterly reports. So any presenter, please keep checking with me as to whether or not you will be included in any future month's agenda based on my discretion as chair. As a reminder, please keep your presentations and any response to inquiries brief, direct, and to the point so we can keep the meeting moving forward. Remember, these are 3 minutes. Yep. So we start off with the Hawaii Department of Transportation. KCA, please.
Good evening, Chair Cavalli, members of the Downtown-Chinatown Neighborhood Board, Casey Alves from the State DOT Highways. A copy of my report was submitted, so I can take any questions.
So do we have anyone in public for any questions online or in the library? Seeing none, hearing none. Any board members? Board Member Isakani, please.
Yeah, thank you so much for sending over the materials. It was quite informative. I tried my best to get through it. The piece I was most interested in, I think, was the application for federal funding. Just because again, I'm aware that the federal government has passed that big infrastructure bill, so I know there's a lot of money out there. And definitely, I know that we have a lot of work to do on our roads. So I'm just curious. I mean, and you can come back to another meeting, but I'd love in the future to get more educated on just what the process is. If we can get more information on what's been applied for, what's been awarded, what's actually been utilized, that type of information would be very useful. So just maybe more of a comment than a question. Thank you.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions, please, from the board members? All right. Hearing none, seeing none. Thank you very much. And you have a Melikaliki Maka.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So next, we're going to move on to Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation, HART. Marissa Gonzalez, are you here?
Yes, I am here.
Go ahead.
Aloha and good evening, Chair Carvalho, board members and community. My name is Marissa Gonzalez with HART's Public Involvement Team. Thank you for the opportunity to provide an update on the Honolulu Rail Transit Project. HART continues utility relocation along Dillingham Boulevard toward downtown. The downtown utility relocation is on track for completion in the first quarter of 2025, while the Dillingham utility relocation is expected to finish by the first quarter of 2026. With recent notice to proceed for the design and construction of the city center guideway and stations, HART contractor Tutor Perini is expected to begin construction of the columns for the rail guideway, with shovel to ground scheduled for summer 2025. This contract includes 3 miles of elevated guideway, 6 stations from the Middle Street station along Dillingham Boulevard through downtown Honolulu, and stopping at the Civic Center station in Kaka'ako. Construction is expected to be finished in 2030. We are closely coordinating with our teams and anticipate sharing more details about upcoming work with you early next year. And so the updates on the City Center Guideway and Stations construction will be available soon. We do have continued progress on the airport guideway segment. So in regards to that segment, significant progress continues on the 5.2 mile AGS segment from Aloha Stadium to Middle Street. Construction and core systems are nearly complete and testing is currently underway. We aim to begin the final trial running phase soon and anticipate transferring the assets to DTS by late 2025. That concludes my update. Thank you, Chair Carvalho and board members for your time. For more information about HART, please visit honolulutransit.org or contact us on our 24-hour project hotline.
Thank you very much, Marissa. So as
Yes.
usual, everyone's already heard my speech all night long. So we'll go ahead and just move forward. Anyone from the public in the library or online, do you have any questions? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll go ahead and go to our board. And we'll go ahead and start off with Board Member McDonald.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you to the representative of Hart for being here. So this is, I guess there's some turnover there. You're the third representative of Hart that I've had to ask this to and still not have gotten an answer. But I would like to address Dillingham Boulevard, which is a main artery of traffic in Honolulu, and it is a disaster. It is atrocious. I did ask, I'm even getting a nod from the neighborhood assistant. It's horrible. I asked the not the one before you, but the one before that, who used to be our neighborhood assistant. I can't remember his name, but he told me tough. He said, it's going to be that way for 10 more years. And thanks for asking, but I don't have an answer for you. So just live with it. But I don't have to. So I need to ask you, why does
10
Dillingham,
seconds, please.
thank you, Chair. Why does Dillingham have to be a disaster for after 4 years, 10 more years? Why can't it be done in sections? Why does it have to be this way? And what can be done to maybe do it differently so that the entirety of Dillingham Boulevard doesn't have to be, I can't ride my scooter on it. I can't even ride on it. I fall off. It's bad. You can get back to me if you need to. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Do we have any other board members with a question? All right. Hearing none, seeing none, I want to wish you a Melekalikimaka, Amekehao Makahikiho. Have a great day and thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you.
Happy holidays and safe holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. Thank you. Next, we have Mauna Kea Villages. Greg Payton, are you here?
Yes, I am, Chair. Thank you. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, board members. Happy holidays. My name is Greg Payton, and I serve as a CEO for MHK Hawaii. One of our programs is now called Mauna Kea Villages, located on Mauna Kea Street, where we serve 33 formerly homeless single adults in permanent supported housing. We've been at this new location for 1 year and 3 months without any incidents, and we hope that we become good neighbors. We do only permanent supported housing there. No homeless drop-in or other kinds of services. If you have any feedback, please, my email is on the agenda. Please let me know. I think we've gotten pretty good feedback from our business neighbors. We have also, the organization has also housed 65 homeless adults since January of this year for this last 12 months. Between our 3 programs, between Mauna Kea Village, Punuai Rest Stop Hygiene Center, our case management program. That's my report, and I'll take any questions that you might have.
All right. Do we have anyone in the public, online or in the library? Seeing none, we'll go ahead to the board. We'll start off with Board Member Armstrong, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hey, Greg, from all that I can tell and have been told, you're doing a great job. I'm just curious about one thing that's occurring in our neighborhood. While it appears that the homeless population is improving and the city and state have gotten, and nonprofits such as yours have gotten a real handle on the wayward folk, the comment I'm hearing a lot is the prevalence of some serious drugs in the population that exists. I'm just curious, has your office been seeing an uptick in fentanyl use and the other really devastating drugs in our community?
We have seen that at the Evile location, the Punuai Rest Stop, which is not in the Chinatown area, across the river. We have seen an uptick in what appears to be violence sort of triggered by drug use. We don't have any data on exactly what that looks like, but it's something that we've contacted the police department about several times, and they've been very, very helpful. Those are folks that are generally homeless, and some of that results from their own anxieties and issues that go on, and we try to deal with them case by case. It seems to us to be more than it is. It really turns out to be about 95% of the people we serve are are thankful for our services. It's that 5% that cause 95% of our problems.
All right. Thank you very much. Do appreciate that. Next, we have board member live, please.
Thank you, Chair. Dr. Payton, thank you for joining us tonight. Two quick questions. Regarding the statistics that you're getting and presenting, are you able to quantitatively say that things are better, more efficient, more helpful at Mauna Kea Village than they are perhaps at the previous facility, perhaps Safe Haven? If you could address that. And secondly, should we refer to your line item on our agenda as Mauna Kea Village or Mauna Kea Villages? Thank you.
We call it Mauna Kea Villages because there's 3 sets of living units on the property. So that's why we refer to it in the plural. We have, I think what we've discovered, and this was because of the feedback we received from all of you over the last few years, is that by not having a drop-in center and not engaging people in homeless outreach on site and just providing permanent supported housing, it's been very quiet. And people kind of maintain their own community. They've been pretty much disenfranchised from the rest of society, from their own families. And most of the people we serve are actually from Hawaii. So that they kind of have created their own community of support network within. And so it's been a very cohesive group. And that's a learning experience for us that we did not quite expect. And it's very powerful. And I think it's a way to do this program for homeless adults with serious mental illness. It's a way to provide services.
All right. Thank you very much. Next, we have board member Sturgis, please.
Thank you, Greg. I have a question. It's the people that have to go there, or are they referred to your places, your villages? Do somebody go out to the public and actually look for people actively, or are they just walking in after being recommended, or the police, pick them up and drop them off, or CORE went out and grabbed them? What's going on? And then the reason I'm referring to this is because of the person that passed away, died actually on Hotel Street, drug overdose, and then also 2 homeless people that are always at the same spot by the AC Hotel. And, I just don't know how that is handled and how it relates to the villages.
We receive our referrals through Partners in Care. Many of you have heard of that organization. It's the continuum of care. Every major city that receives HERF funding, that's the homeless funding, used to be the McKinney-Vento Act, goes through the continuum of care. And so we go through what's called a coordinated entry system, and the most vulnerable people peak through that entry level system, and we receive our referrals from there. They're usually identified by people who have the homeless outreach contract. We do not have that contract. Hawaii Health and Harm Reduction Center has the contract for this region, for this area. And the executive director is Heather Lusk, who has spoken with me here at various times in the past. And so they provide some identification of folks. They come through the homeless management information system, and then whenever we have an opening, they're referred to us.
All right. Thank you very much. So board members that have asked have done so. So I will be doing no follow-ups on this. We're going to be moving forward to the next. So we're done with our quarterly reports, and I appreciate, Greg, your time. I want to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. Mele Kalikimaka.
Happy holidays, everybody.
So Kevin Lai has already spoken. Every board member has spoken. I'm not doing a follow-up on this. We're going to move forward in the interest of moving everything smoothly around. Thank you. All right. Next, let me see. Okay, we have introduction of approval of minutes. Chinatown Business Committee Association. Shulan Schubert-Kwok is not here. Her report is on Google Drive. All right. Next, we have the introduction of approval of minutes. Okay. So, Secretary Isakani has informed me in advance that he needs more time with the minutes to fix. So, as chair, I'm going to go ahead and defer this item to the next meeting since he needs more time with this. All right? All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're moving forward. Next, we're introducing board business. So next is an update on City Council Bill 50, 2024 related to parades, street festivals, and other activities. Ross has been following it, so he'll be taking care of this.
And I'll be very, very brief on this. I've been showing up to every meeting, council meeting. I think this is good news. Just to remind everyone, there was Bill 50 that was introduced earlier, and it was proposing the original draft to put some rules and restrictions on events in our neighborhood. Thanks to the advocacy, I think that we've been doing, and also the event organizers. Tommy Waters introduced an amendment and got those out. I would say Council Member Dos Santos Tam also kind of supported that as well. So I would say good news, but we'll continue to watch it.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, we're going to go open this up for discussion. Is there anyone in the public? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll go ahead and move forward to the board. Go ahead, Board Member Armstrong.
Thank you very much for that update. Really appreciate it. And I just wanted to remind citizens of our neighborhood that this weekend may be a little bit congested in terms of traversing some of our streets, because on Saturday we have the holiday parade and on Sunday we have the marathon. So both of those are going to tie up traffic, especially on King Street, but also I think the parade comes down Hotel Street. Don't hold me to that, but it comes down King. Sorry, thank you for correcting me. So that's a major thoroughfare, and people want to keep that in mind. I know the streets don't close until 5 o'clock on Saturday, and Sunday I think they're all closed until about noon. So just keep that in mind, and thank you.
Any other board members have any question? Board Member Lai, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just queuing for a comment on agenda item 9, not item 9A. So whenever you feel appropriate, please advise.
That's where we are. Update on City Council Bill 50.
Right, again, item 9 proper, but not item 9A in particular. So I want the discussion for A to finish first.
So the minutes have been deferred. There's no discussion on this. Secretary Ross Isakani notified. Oh, 9A? What? Yeah, so 9A is board city council bill. What's 8A?
No.
That's the only thing on the agenda. 9A.
Chair.
Yep.
I'm just trying to let the discussion for 9A complete before a comment on 9 board business in general is made. Just wanted to make sure that was cleared.
So is this on the agenda?
Board business on the agenda. I just wanted to see if there was a note on a missing item from the agenda that was deferred from the previous meeting that convened.
Yeah, so we are finished. Yeah.
I just wonder if you could rule, this is a point of information on which you can rule if or why those items that were deferred were not on the agenda this month as a matter of board business.
So you're talking about what was on several months ago, right? So you have to rebring that up. So I did to OIP since those items, we've gone several months without them because because you brought it up to OIP and OIP called us and told us that you decided that you wanted this everything canceled because you didn't
Chair, as a point of that is incorrect and not related.
You're bringing this up.
Chair.
You're bringing it up, right?
I think you're mistaken, Chair. I'm talking specifically of the 2 items regarding bringing items to the attention of the board for consideration that was deferred during the October meeting to be put on the agenda during the next meeting. And I was just asking if they would be indeed placed on the agenda.
Okay, so you need to, yeah. Okay, so I understand what you say now. So if you want to place on the agenda What you need to do is you need to make sure that I get that information before the 20th of the month. So in this case, the 20th of January, so I can place it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Thank you, Chair. To be clear, though, there's the will of the board that was expressed during the October meeting to put it on the next agenda. Does that require a secondary augmentation by an individual member?
Okay, so we're gonna stop this right now. We're gonna stop this. So it was put on an agenda, which because no, let's say it was put on an agenda for the October. It was put on the agenda for the October meeting. Board member, it was put on the agenda for the October meeting. The October meeting never happened because you told OIP that it cannot happen because you did not receive your November meeting.
Chair, as a point of information, again, that's incorrect. We're talking about the November meeting, which didn't happen. But secondly, since you've brought it up, the matter of discussion regarding the November meeting was
Okay,
a
so we're going to
condition of
move on.
ors and
So the
ands.
next thing we're moving up to is announcements.
Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
no, it's Mr. McDonald.
Go ahead, Mr. McDonald.
Thank you. Two things. I just want to clarify here. I think Board Member Lai is asking about items that were deferred from the October meeting for the November meeting, and then were not. So because we didn't have that meeting, they should have then been brought onto the November meeting, and he's asking why those items that were deferred in October and then we didn't have November weren't on the today's December agenda. Okay, I'm just trying to
No,
clarify. I'm
I
not
think I
trying to
understand what
make a conflict here.
No, you did fine with that, and I understand what you're saying. So anything that was on a November meeting, I started for December a new agenda. So all these people, right, from Wine Electric, the Barclays, and everything else, anyone that was on the October meeting that wasn't able to present on November because Board Member Lai decided that he was going to, and I'm going to put his name out there because he filed a complaint against me for this. So I'm going to put it in. He filed a complaint.
No.
No, hold on. I'm going to finish what I'm saying. He filed a complaint because on me to OIP. So OIP literally contacted me at my job and told me that I had to cancel that meeting. So anyone that was on the meeting for November that got canceled, the only reason that they were on the agenda tonight is because they asked to be placed on the agenda. So again, what has to happen now is if Board Member Lai wants those items placed on agenda, then he's going to have to send me a message, an email for me to place it on the next agenda. That's it.
If I may, if the board agreed to defer those items, I think shouldn't they then just come up at, maybe not today, but at some future agenda, since we all agreed to bring them?
So he has to be, he can bring it.
He has to ask. We can't just.
Oh, you can ask, or anybody can ask me to put it on the agenda and it'll be on the next agenda.
Okay.
That I have no problem with. Yeah. And that's how it's going to be. I'm going to follow OIP now that he decided that I have to follow the rules. We're going to go to announcements, everybody.
If I have another quick question, and this is going to be, maybe it's not such a good idea now, but since we are pretty far ahead of schedule, I wonder if we can avoid putting Dr. Lai's item member on next month's agenda by letting him speak now, since we have like half an hour.
No, we cannot change the agenda or per OIP now because he filed because
I understand what happened.
Filed a complaint to OIP. I cannot change the agenda.
So I'm just asking,
agenda stands.
maybe the neighborhood assistant would allow us to amend the agenda?
We can, no matter what the neighborhood board assistant says, because of OIP, I'm not allowed to change the agenda. The agenda as written stays. It will not be fixed during that time.
Sure.
The complaint against me was when I allowed.
I'm not trying to create conflict. I'm just
so when I allowed the
save time.
He likes to come on. He filed a complaint to me. So it stands. We're moving to the announcements at this point. Yes. Okay, announcements. The next Downtown-Chinatown Neighborhood Board, number 13 regular meeting is scheduled for Thursday, February 6, 2025 at 6:00 p.m. at Keokalani Middle School and virtually via WebEx, YouTube. An archive of video recordings of neighborhood board meetings can be found at the YouTube.com channel. Rebroadcast of Downtown-Chinatown Neighborhood Board, number 13 meetings are scheduled on Olelo Channel 49 every third Thursdays at 9:00 p.m. as well as 9:00 a.m. on the fourth Saturdays of each month. An archive of past meetings may be found on olelo.org by searching on downtown. This will conclude our meeting. Everyone have a good day. Thank you very much.